Welcome back to part 3, guys. Said it before, I'll say it again. Go and watch part 1 and part 2, the previous parts, because in these multiple part series that I do, if you jump in halfway through, you're going to be completely lost. I'll link to the playlist down in the description. First thing at the top of the description will be the playlist link. Go and watch part 1 and part 2 first, because you're not going to have any idea what's going on otherwise. So we left part 2, I had it on the bench, I was dicking around, wasn't I, fixing the charging system, and it did its cutting out thing. We actually, I think, managed to replicate the fault for the first time. All I've done, I've put it all back together properly, so the new reg is on there. I changed that connection block for the new one. It's all buttoned up exactly as it should be, so we can road test it. Hang on, I'm going to sneeze, stand by. Fucking hell. Sorry. It's better than the compressor though. So, yeah, it's all together. I've run it one more time, not completely up to temperature, just to make sure no fault codes or anything appeared. So there's no fault codes in memory. It starts and runs beautifully. What I'm going to do is, let's not get the number plate in shot, because it's cold here at the moment. It's, what is it? It must be 5 degrees max. So I'm going to start it up. Let's get it hopefully to a point where it cuts out and does its thing, and then rather than disturb the motorbike, I'm going to put my hat on and I'll bring you along for the ride. Let's go and see if we can experience the fault as the owner was, this on-off jerky misfiring. And then we're at a point where we should have been right at the beginning of part 1, where we've got a broken motorbike with a replicatable fault. And then let's see where this video takes us. Right. So we've got a nice fast idle. Let's leave that warm up and see what happens. I should have probably warmed this thing up in the workshop. It's so cold out here, it's taking forever to get cold enough. Simon did say that when they were riding it in the cold weather, they couldn't get it to, you know, they couldn't replicate the fault, because if it was under 85 degrees it didn't do it. So I think what I'm going to have to do is, if we can get it to the fault to occur here on the yard, I'll get it to like 100+ degrees and the fan on, and then I'll get on it quickly and ride it, and hopefully we can capture it sort of in motion when we're riding it. It does sound nice with its big gapey exhaust pipe, I've got to say. Go fucking like that, instantaneously just stopped from a perfect idle. Why am I trying to turn it on when it's already on? Excitement is getting to me. Let's try and get it over 100 degrees, and then we'll go and ride it. You've got to love an intermittent fucking electrical fault, haven't you? 102 degrees now, it hasn't done it since. Let me go and get me hat and me coat. Let's mount a camera. Let's just go ride it, see if it does it. Right, let's stick you, I think. You're gonna have to go on there. Seems like a sensible place. People have asked, so I'll tell you, it's an Insta360 X4. X4, that's right, isn't it? Do you want to be able to see the dashboard, or are you alright just like that? You'll have to be alright just like that. Yeah, Insta360 X4. I'm not a massive fan, to be honest. It's alright, but it's not a camera review, is it? So I'm not gonna... Oh, by the way, as I was getting my camera, I left it idling. And it cuts out again. Hopefully, just like that. Hopefully it's going to do it when we ride it. So we've properly replicated it. Right, let me get my jacket on and let's go ride. Righto, so it's been a minute. What temperature are we at now? 63 degrees. Okay. Ooh, stopped again. At 63 degrees that time. Hopefully we're not going to have to go... That was me stalling it. Hopefully we're not going to have to go far, because it's bloody freezing cold. I just really want to... Oh, fucking hell. Was that me stalling it, or was that the bike cutting out? Yeah, I just really want to experience the fault as the owner experiences it. We're almost at the point where it could be icy. It's that cold. So I need to be super careful. Yeah, because it was icy last night and this has been in shade all day, so be fucking super careful. Oh my god, this poor road is falling apart. This is what you get for your hundreds of pounds a month council tax in the UK. Fucking roads that are literally falling to pieces. If you're really lucky, once a year they'll come along with a fucking wheelbarrow and a shovel and chuck some more fucking tarmac in them. Anyway, I don't want this to be a ranty video. Fucking hell. I'm scared it's going to be icy. Let's find a bit of dry tarmac somewhere. Can actually open the fucking throttle. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Fucking hell! Oh my fucking days. He's not fucking wrong. Holy fucking smoke. Okay. See, that felt like... See if I do it again. Oh, that's violent. Fucking hell. Okay. That is a massive electrical... Jesus Christ. Like he nearly just... That is an extreme misfire. That's oh, and it cut out. Fucking perfect. That is... Did you see it? It was like... Holy smoke, what temperature are we? Oh, we're only at 65 degrees. We can safely say... Fucking, I keep stalling it. Fault replicated. Let's turn around here and go home. I'm freezing fucking cold. We can also safely say that the cutting out when it's on the bench is the same fault, because often the issue with these problems, let me see if I get it to do it again one more time for you. was alright that time. Oh, fucking hell, yeah. It is bad. Yeah, often the problem, having a fault, what am I trying to say? Speak, Jim. Having a fault that you can replicate on the bench is so much easier. You know, you can have the picoscope hooked up to it, etc., as it's doing it, whereas, you know, if it's something that only happens out on road test, it's quite difficult. Unless you've got a dyno, of course, which I don't have, or some sort of rolling road. Let's get back in the warm, hook the Pico up to it, and let's see if we can find out what the hell is going on. So what are my initial thoughts? It's some sort of hard electrical cut, either fuel or ignition, or both even, but it's very on off, you know, it's losing spark or injection control for some reason, and very the frequency of the misfire is, I don't know whether there's a clue there. You can see why somebody might think, oh, ECU. Let's try on here quickly. Oh, fucking hell. It's like a fucking bucking bronco. The fact that yeah, the fact that it does it and that sort of frequency, turn it off before it turns itself off. That's got to be a clue. Hopefully we can, if we connect the Pico up to it on the bench and it does it, we can get an idea of what might be going on. What am I going to connect to? I think I'll look at injection control, ignition, primary voltage and current possibly, and maybe some powers and grounds at the ECU. I don't know, it's difficult to know where to start. We've got to start somewhere though. At least we've replicated it, which is it's taken fucking ages just to get to that point, but it charges now, of course, and it's got a fast idle and the throttle bodies are all perfect, etc. Right, let's do work. Okay, I'm going to stand all the way over here because this is where the hot air blows out of my heater, and it's 3 degrees in here. It is the very next day after that road test. I got a little bit distracted when I got back off the road test with something which I will share with you now just quickly. Slightly off topic, but bear with me. I think it was one of these videos I was talking about my test light that I use and my Vantage Pro and my Pico, and I felt like I needed another tool between the test light and the Vantage Pro. I started looking at power probes. The power probe Maestro, I think it is, the more expensive of the range of power probes. A little bit spendy, sort of between, depending on where you buy it from, 310, 350 pounds, somewhere in that ballpark. So I started looking at alternatives. Anyway, I found a V-Diag V500 Pro, I think it was called, and it wasn't very expensive, and I watched some YouTube videos and I thought, oh, that looks all right, I'll order one. So I ordered one from Amazon, came next day, and I didn't like it. The biggest thing, I'll put a picture of it on the screen, the biggest issue I had with it was, I promise we're going to get to this motorbike in a minute, so don't panic. The biggest issue I had with it was it was physically bigger than I wanted it to be in terms of using it as an actual probe. It was a bit of a fucking hunk of a thing. But the absolute deal breaker was the wire that came off it was the fucking chintziest, most Chinesium plastic wiring. And I kid you not, it was massive, big, thick jump leads, really hard to bend wire. It felt like the wire was like this. It was fucking comically ridiculous, the wire. So I connected it to a battery and I poked a few things and I thought, I can't fucking live with this wire. The wire was also about 30 fucking meters long, so I had to deal with all this wire. So anyway, I sent that back and I thought, oh, maybe this is a stupid idea. Did a little bit more research and then I came up with this. This arrived yesterday, which is what distracted me. I'll bring you over here, have a quick look, and then I promise we'll get to this motorbike. Yes, so I ordered one of these, and I haven't played with it much, but first impressions, the first thing I noticed was, oh yeah, and the other thing, the V500 Pro had a connector on like this. So it had this fucking massive long wire, and right on the end of the wire where it connects the battery, it had this connector. But what these guys have done, they've given you a sort of motorbike's length of wire with the connector on, so you can fucking deal with that easily. And then they've given you a massive extension if you wanted to, you know, work on a car or something. But with this one, it's got nice quality silicon wire and the connection isn't fucking comically big. So that was a fucking win straight away. And then what's it come with? It comes with fucking tool review. Sorry, you didn't think you were getting this, did you? It comes with a couple of different length spiky probes. Get them out of the bag. Comes with 2 lengths of these, which seem like pretty nice quality. Interestingly, it's got I've never seen this before on a tool, so the USB-C in the side of it, and this is a relay tester. Not gonna do any of that now. I might make a separate video of this. If I think it's worthy of your attention, I'll make an actual video. Fuck's sake, Jim, what are you doing here? I might even, shall I poke this GSXR with it? I wanted to go straight to picoscope, and so a little clip for to hang it up with. I wanted to go straight to picoscope, but actually maybe a slightly lower tech bit of diagnostic work might be more relevant. Anyway, stop fucking with that. What did I want to talk to you about? So it's always a good idea, right, to sleep on, right, back to the GSXR. Let's get rid of, this is weird, that's like, it's Inception, isn't it? Woo! Okay, Jim, focus. I had open here, hang on. I don't want to show you things you shouldn't fucking see. The Misfire, sorry for the distraction, by the way. So the Misfire, to me, and perhaps to you, because you witnessed it, it seemed like a hard electrical cut. It was fucking on, off, on, off, on, off, like I was, you know, almost like somebody was flicking the kill switch on and off. Very abrupt, very hard, on, off. But with a sort of almost a precise frequency. So I was thinking a lot last night about it. It's almost like it was a relay clicking, or there was some sort of mechanical thing turning it on and off. Does that make sense? This is just where my brain was going. Anyway, so I started looking at, and this is always a good idea, if you've got a fault, sit with a brew, and it's amazing what you can get done without actually getting your spanners out. Just looking at wiring diagrams and thinking about the sorts of things that could be causing the problem. I was also thinking about the thing, God, what did I do? The thing that also came to my mind was, do you remember in part 1 when we spoke to the owner and he was saying that at his track day at Mallory Park, it would only start with a push start. It would crank over and it wouldn't fire. That suggests some sort of, when you engage the starter motor, there's a voltage drop, possibly across a relay. And you see where I'm going? So I started looking at wiring diagrams, thinking, you know, what could be a potential place for the fault. So I was just looking at injector power. So there's two sets of injectors here, secondary and primary. They're getting their power on this yellow. Forget the control for now. I'm just thinking about the power supply to the injectors. Yellow and red. That goes to the other wiring diagram, which is really annoying. The wiring diagram is in two halves. This yellow and red here, fuel pump relay, and that goes to fuel pump level sensor, fuel pump motor. So the injectors are on the same feed as the fuel pump, which comes from the fuel pump relay. So I was thinking that's one place to potentially stick the power probe, or, you know, connect the scope to. And then the other one, of course, is, and we're not talking control at this point, we're just talking power supply, because whatever it is affecting all four cylinders. It's not like it's losing a cylinder. It's not like it's going on to three cylinders. It's literally on and off. So I'm less interested in individual control of the coils or the injectors. I think it's more fundamental than that, like a power supply to something. So looking at the power supply to the coils, this orange and white, that goes up to the engine stop switch, and the engine stop switch is fed by that yellow, that's orange and black, which gets its feed from, it goes in here. There's some diodes, ignore that, that's for the side stand lockout. But there's a relay here which is providing that power, and that power feeding into the relay. The source, if you like, is on that ignition fuse. Ignition fuse, that's number 3, isn't it? I think it must be, yeah, it's got to be. It was on the other wiring diagram, wasn't it? There. So down here, fuse 3, ignition. So I think the two places to look are going to be power at the injectors and power at the coils, without looking at control. And then hopefully we can replicate it on the bench and see one of these feeds disappear. And then we've got some direction. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, and the other thing that I did think about for a sort of on-off thing is the thing here. See this TO sensor? That's a tip-over sensor. So that kills the fuel pump if the bike falls over or ends up upside down. Now, I think the cut is too violent and too hard for it to be that. That's my gut feeling. If you were to turn the fuel pump off, you have a little bit of residual, that's the word, residual fuel pressure in the fuel line and the fuel rail, and it's more of a soft cut, whereas it felt more hard electrical to me. Anyway, fucking waffling. So let's connect. Shall we use that? But then we can only do one at a time. I'll make a plan. Let's connect up some means of testing to the power supply, to the injectors and the coils. Let's run it. Let's see if we can replicate it on the bench. Fucking fingers crossed. But it has done it previously. Let's see if we can get some direction. Fucking sorry for the waffle. Well, I'll see you in a bit. So the plan of attack. I've got the tank up. I haven't run it yet or anything, so that relay there is the fuel pump relay, I'm pretty sure, and then the other relay that we were talking about in the wiring diagram, the wiring diagram would have you believe that it's part of the fuse box, but it's not, it's a separate thing, and I'm pretty sure it lives up under there somewhere. Let's hang on, stand by. If I can torch, can't see. Yeah, I think it's under here. Let's get this entire seat unit off. give us some access. And yeah, and the ignition fuse in there, I don't really want to disturb. Wouldn't it be amazing if it was just a green and furry fuse box or something? I don't really want to be pulling and pushing on anything too much. You know, if it turns out that it's a bad connection, you fucking move the wiring loom and then the fault goes away forever. Until, well, not forever, till the customer takes the bike away. And then this is why I bang on about the replication of the fault all the fucking time, because if you can't replicate it, you can't fix it. It's literally that simple. And then that looks messed with, doesn't it? That wiring loom, that's not standard. That's been taped up. It's a fucking can of worms, isn't it, this motorbike? Okay, better look at that ECU. You tell me, does that look like it's fucking brand new? It just looks, don't know, it just looks dirty. There's like a layer of dust on it. I suppose you could argue that sticker looks quite new. Probably take it out and see how much schmoo is underneath it. Anyway, that's by the by. Fucking hell. Ironically, imagine if it turned out to be the ECU that was the problem and they hadn't put one on. Fucking hell. That would be hilarious. Right, let me get this seat unit off so we can get to that relay assembly and we can start deciding where we're going to connect our probes to do the measuring. I think this is my plan, or at least this is my initial plan. I'm going straight to the picoscope because I certainly don't want to be fucking around with a new tool I've never used. I want to take out as many other variables as possible. You know, there's a fucking chance it might not do it right, ticking over, and if I want to capture as much data as possible, so I'm using a picoscope. You could absolutely be doing this with a fucking test light. You know, there's no need for an oscilloscope for this, but I can just capture it and, you know, pause the scope and then look back. So that yellow with a red tracer, I'm using these little pico wire spikers. People freak out a little bit when you spike a hole in a wire, but you just put a little bit of liquid tape on the hole you've made, which is like it's like rubber paint, if you like. It seals it up fucking perfectly. So, and I just want to make sure I'm getting a really, really solid connection. Anyway, so that's the output. That's the fuel pump relay. So that yellow with a red tracer, that's the output there. And then for here, this is the relay assembly up under here. That I honestly didn't fucking remember, but looking at the wire diagram, I've got excess wires, but looking at the colour of the wires, I think the flasher relay is also inside that relay box as well. So I've got the orange with a black tracer speared. That's the feed going to the coils. I know I should probably be connecting it directly to the coil feed, shouldn't I? But I'm not, because I can't be asked to take the airbox off, and it's easier just to do it that way. Obviously there's a length of wire between there and the coils. Is there a possibility there's something going on in that? Of course there is, but it's just easy to get to that without fucking disturbing everything I've put together. Let me get my scope hooked up and let's run it, see if we can get it to brake. I was thinking maybe I should be looking at crank position sensor possibly at the same time. Let's just keep it simple, stupid to start with. Let's just see what these two voltages glean us in terms of information, and then yeah, we'll go from there. What are we on, 82 degrees? Not a fucking sign of it going wrong. I'm really worried that, you know, me just ragging fucking things around, pulling and pushing on the wiring and stuff, I've maybe done something to fucking fix it. It's gonna make me fucking ride it, isn't it? Is what it's gonna do. We might have to try the login feature in the Pico and take the laptop and the Pico with us in a fucking rucksack or something. That might be what ends up happening. 94 degrees and not a fucking sniff of a problem. Crank signal's looking nice and clean. I said, didn't I, this, don't worry about this hash. And I've also got, I'm pretty sure I mentioned, I've got a low pass filter turned on. If we can make the fucking scope work. Yeah, look, if I turn the filter off, it's a lot noisier. That's completely normal. I'm not worried about that at all. There's a lot of current flow. There's a lot of noise from the coils and the, you know what I'm saying. Come on, break down. What temperature are we at? Fucking 105 degrees, not a sniff of a problem. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to let it heat soak a bit, just for a couple of minutes. I'm going to go and have another brew and let's try again. For fuck's sake. I wonder whether, see, my favourite theory was this relay. I wonder whether me just pulling on these wires has done something. This is exactly where I didn't want to fucking be. Oh joy. Right, it's been stood for 10 minutes or so, a bit longer perhaps. We're still at 80 degrees. Let's start the scope running. And please brake. Just been playing with these scales a bit as well on the scope screen. I think what I'll do as well is let's get a little bit more frame, so to speak, so if it does it we could capture it. Oh, fucking hell. It did it. Press stop. Okay. Whoo, excited. Like a little bit of poo came out. Okay. So, there's the event. So we didn't lose. Look, I'll bring a cursor down so you can see. So we didn't lose coil voltage. And we didn't lose fuel pump voltage. And this here is just the crankshaft slowing down and stopping turning. So it's not power at the coils and it's not fuel pump power. Right, we need to look at next, let me get in the fucking frame, turn the ignition off. Can you see me? Am I in shot? We need to do we need to check the power at the coil rather than at the fucking relay? I don't know, I don't think I do. Or is that a mistake? I think we need to look at injector and coil control, don't we? Next. Let's do that before the engine cools down. I'll reconfigure my scope. We'll get secondary, we'll get primary coil current and voltage, and we'll get injector pulse width signal voltage. Right, I'll be back in a minute. Let me just reconfigure this spaghetti junction. Let me show you what I've done. I've had to relent, is that the right word, and get the airbox out of the way. It's resting there because it's got its reg rec connected to it. So I've got primary coil voltage. I've just randomly picked number 3 cylinder, not for any particular reason, and then the same, I've got number 4 injector, just because the wire's easy to get at. So I'm going to look at an ignition waveform, primary voltage, and an injector waveform. I haven't done current, and I've kept the crank sensor connected. Let's run the scope, run the bike. Let's see if we get any closer. Start a screen recorder. Run the scope, start the bike. Okie dokie. Oh, it stopped. Fucking amazing. Right, stop the scope. I was fucking around with the time base then, unfortunately, when it happened. Let's turn the ignition off. Well, at least it's actually braking. Why is this bike stopping? You can see here. Let's move that out of the way. Come on, Jim. You can see the rotation of the crankshaft stop there. What the fuck? So it's got a... Let's look at those two. Well, that bit there, look, has it? It's got a good spark still, right there. That is a good firing event, although that's... You could argue and then what's the injector doing? It's not the greatest. Oh, there is a pintle hump there slightly. It's been pulled right down to ground. I mean, there's no cause for concern there at all. Fuck me, why'd it stop? It's got fuel, it's got spark. Let's run the scope again and change the time base. Capture a bit more detail in one frame. Go again, let's see if we can make it do it again. Yeah, ideally get a bit of a sort of an idle and then the event. Let me just stop a minute and say something out loud, because you might be thinking this. You might be thinking, what about cam position sensor, right? Which is can I get to the wires? Yeah, I can easily get at the wires. The thing with this design, is once the engine's running, you can disconnect the cam sensor and you'll get a fault code. I don't think I'm talking out of turn. You can disconnect the cam sensor, you'll get a fault code, but it'll keep running. But if you turn it off, it won't restart. In fact, let me fucking prove that theory. I'm just going to run it and disconnect the cam sensor. because I haven't been paying attention to the cam sensor for that very reason. Yeah, so cam sensor's unplugged and the engine check light's just come on. If I turn it off and try and restart it, I don't think it'll restart without that connected. Yeah, so that's behaving normally. So I'm not worried. The reason I'm just saying that out loud is I'm not worried about cam crank relationship, if you see what I mean. Anyway, let's hang on a minute. I've got a engine check light flashing at me. Let me turn it off, turn it back on again, let it reset itself. Put that code into memory. There we go. Scope is still running. Oh my god, why can't it just stay fucking broken? It's nice and warm. I'm gonna sit here. I'm looking at the scope screen in case you were wondering. Can you even hear me over this fucking row? You know what I'm doing next, don't you? If I get another good capture, can you hear me? If I get another good capture and it's still got an obvious spark and injection pulse, I think I'm going to hook a fuel pressure gauge up to it. Not doing it now. The only good thing about this is really warm on my back. I don't fucking know. It's not doing it. Oh, fucking hell. What am I thinking? In that one capture we got, it definitely didn't lose. You could just see the crank signal petering out as the crankshaft was slowing down. Didn't appear to lose spark or injection pulse. Which would, you know, you could say, oh well, what about sort of powers and grounds to the ECU and that sort of thing, but the coils and the injectors are controlled by the same ECU, and the injectors aren't shutting off, and the primary voltage, the spark event, looks fine. I mean, not 100% perfect, but there's a spark line there and it's not wildly wrong. Oh, fucking hell. I think I might hook I'm going to hook a fuel pressure gauge up to it. And I'm also, imagine if it was fucking water contamination. It wouldn't be though, because it, you know, you'd lose a fucking cylinder. You wouldn't lose, it wouldn't ingest water and immediately shut down all 4 cylinders. I've had this like horrible misfire in like this with water in the fuel, and you know, it's water doesn't burn, right? But not to that degree, not to that, like completely shut it off, all 4 cylinders. How fucking weird. What am I missing? I just need it to, I wish it would just be broken and stop running. It'd be fucking easy to fix then. And it's so difficult to take the, sorry I'm waffling, it's so difficult to take the pico scope out on road test. Need some sort of data logging equipment that could log multiple channels. How cool would that be if you could just have 10 channels that you could monitor all at the same time? Injection, ignition event, you know, all the different powers and grounds. Literally one road test, get it to do it, come home, look at the data, know what's wrong with it. Fucking hell. Oh, it's lunchtime. I'm gonna have some food and have a think, and we'll see. I don't fucking know. I'm not the expert. Is my microphone working? The battery's nearly flat in it. Yeah, it's still working. Yeah, I don't know, is this information? It might be valuable, but I just tried it one more time then off camera. I thought maybe it was fucking camera shy and it didn't do it, but I did notice I was getting some overrange warnings on my scope, and then it just occurred to me. Sorry. It just occurred to me I'm not using an attenuated lead. Because I was just measuring voltage with these leads, just fucking hooked them straight up. And when you measure primary voltage in an ignition coil or an injector pulse width, that little inductive spike that you get, the voltage can be really fucking high. And this scope, this this pico scope, it can stomach up to 200 volts, and if you start peaking over that, it's quite bad for the scope. And they're quite robust, but you could end up fucking it up. So you have an attenuation. You either put it in line on the lead, and attenuate just means reduce. So you have, but pico make special leads, so they're a 10 times attenuation, so it reduces the signal tenfold, and the waveform on the screen doesn't look any different because the scope knows that it's an attenuated signal, so it shows the same on the screen. It just scales it differently, and it protects the scope from those inductive voltage spikes. So let me swap the leads over, get some lunch, and then we'll come back and set fire to it maybe. Where can I sit here? Can you see me? Yes. So I've had some lunch. I feel slightly less hangry. Is my microphone working? Oh God. Are you working? Yes, you are. I hope you appreciate this, because I'm fighting with the whole filming thing and doing the job at the same time. Here's my theory. I haven't got one. No, in all seriousness, I'm struggling. What needs to happen is I need this thing on a fucking dyno so I can replicate the fault in the true sense of the word, actually experience the misfire and gather some data. I'm 99% certain the cutting out at idle is the same problem, but it's not enough data. That little tiny snapshot between it ticking over and the engine stopping, I feel like I'm not seeing the full picture. Here's what I'm going to do. Hopefully it won't go horribly wrong. I've got it on an ABBA stand. I'm going to run it like third gear and put it under a little bit of load with a rear brake and see if I can reproduce that feeling, that fault that we got on the road test. If I can get it to do that, that'd be fucking amazing, because then I've got some real solid concrete data. Anyway, that's the plan. So let's start that recording and run the bike. It's probably cooled down quite a lot because of let's put that somewhere, because I've just been in an ad. Oh, for fuck's sake, are you having a giraffe? I'm really sorry, whoever you are. I got to answer this, it's my wife. Stand by. Oh, I can't do it. It's too fucking ridiculous to try and do that. Gonna upset the rear fucking brake on fire or something. The little bit of load, I've just tried it a couple of times and it just fucking wants to pull, you know. I need a plan B because I need to. I'm gonna have to fabricable some way of putting the scope on the bike and ride it and record the data that way. Fuck, I wish I had a dyno. Okay, so here's my setup. Got my tablet. Well, I've got the CF33 detached from its keyboard. That's what makes these things great. Is you can use it as a tablet or as a full-on laptop, and they're proper. It's not a fucking review of a tough pad book, is it? And then in here, so I've got this cable tied on here. I've just got my scope in there, and then I've got, what have I got connected? I've got the same as before, but this time I've got the wires going into the ECU wiring. So I've got injection and coil primary, and I've got the same wires going to the crank position sensor. I'm going to get it hot. I'm going to stick this down my coat. Hopefully it will just do it straight away, you know, on the bit of the lane here by the house, and I haven't got to ride far. And then I've got to stop the bike, get this out and pause the scope before the buffer starts writing over itself. I've thunk on it a bit, and I think I've got a theory actually, but I need the information from the waveforms to know for certain, because there was a, you might have picked up on it when I was looking at the the primary ignition voltage just earlier on in this video. You might have picked up that I was slightly, I alluded to a potential problem, let's put it that way. Put it in the comments if you think you know what it is. Right, let's get this hot, get a jacket on and a lid and go and have a ride. So, I think we're ready to go. I've set a trigger, so on the primary voltage spike, so when the engine stops, the scope will stop, the scope will stop capturing and not fill the buffer up and overwrite itself. Let's run that. Let's run the bike. Make sure we're capturing. I got enough wire. I'm worried that I'm going to touch the screen and fucking do something. Things you do for science. Need a bigger fucking coat. I thought about getting really creative and making some sort of 3D fucking mount for it, but I didn't. Got too much to fucking do. Okay. I just want it to brake immediately, so I haven't got to ride it far. The roads are damp, but not icy. It's warmed up a bit, so there's no danger of ice, but still fucking really slippy. Just go on that bit of road at the bottom. What are we, 80 degrees? Right at the bottom of the road, give it a chance to warm up, and then I can give it a bit of a blast along that road. Which is, I think, where we first experienced it in the beginning of this video, wasn't it? On the first road test. Fucking wet leaves. Lovely. bad does a road have to get before it's just not fucking acceptable anymore? Do you know what I mean? It's like they have to resurface it. Is there some sort of law? Or can they just waste the fucking money on other bollocks we don't need? I mean, there's going to be grass growing out of it growing out of the middle of it soon, at this rate. Okay. That's all right there. Oh fucking! Oh, it's the bloody lanyard on his key flapping around. I tell you what. Oh fuck me! That wasn't me. That's kind of a good sign. Come on, motorbike, just misbehave. Fucking jumped out of gear then, it misfired, jerked, and I fucking knocked it out of gear. Oh, you fucking... Right, I'm going to kill the engine. And let's see if we've got a capture. Oh, please, have worked. So, theoretically, because the scope was triggering off the secondary primary voltage, it should have just stopped capturing. Okay, that looks fucking promising. Oh. Interesting. Where's my fucking old man spec so I can actually fucking see? Getting old is fucking shit. Well, fuck my arse with a pointy stick. The glasses are steaming up. But what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to save this one, and I'm going to capture another one on the way home, and then I'll meet you back in the workshop in the warm with a cup of tea, and we can digest what the fuck is happening, because I think we might have an answer. Right, back in the workshop in the warm with a cup of coffee. Now, my screen recorder's only got 10 minutes of recording time, and I've just started it, so I better fucking not waffle too much. There is probably a massive waffle inbound, and if this isn't your sort of thing, then feel free to not watch, okay? I realise it's not for everybody, although if you've got this far, you're probably interested. Okay, so I did another capture on the way home and I got basically the same result. So let's open one of those files. That one will do. They're both pretty much the same. There's something glaringly obviously wrong, isn't there? I think what I should probably do though is just go, I'm going to go, I have already looked at these obviously. Let's find one that's where it's running perfectly. Okay, let's get rid of those rulers. Let me just explain something to you. The ignition system on this bike is, the coils are sequentially fired, meaning that it's not wasted spark. That's a really shit explanation, Jim. The coils are fired, it's coil on plug, so there's a ignition coil for each individual cylinder, okay, and they're fired. How to put this? Some bikes have a system called wasted spark, which means the ignition system fires the coil every single time the piston is at the top of its stroke, at top dead center, okay, which means 4-stroke engine has 4 strokes, induction, compression, power, exhaust. With a wasted spark system, the spark plug is fired when the piston is at the top of its exhaust stroke. There's no fuel and air in the combustion chamber, so the spark is wasted. hence the expression wasted spark. Okay, so this isn't that. This is a sequentially fired system, which means it only fires on the compression stroke. So with that said, let me zoom in. Now this is a good capture. So if I zoom in here, this will make sense why I'm explaining this in a second. So we've got two firing events. Let me just minimize that so it's not in the way. The red trace is the firing event. I'm not getting into this waveform. It's, let's just say that's a perfect spark line. The coil's been pulled to ground. There's a nice big inductive spike over 300 volts. That all looks perfect. The injector event looks perfect. It's exactly what you'd expect to see, this waveform. Now then, that's top dead center. That's not top dead center. Let's just say the firing event is at top dead center. It's not, it's a few degrees before, but for the sake of argument, to explain this, let me bring in some phase rulers. So what we can do is, this is the power of a picoscope. So if I bring these phase rulers in, and I stick one on that spark event, and I stick one on that spark event, this will help explain it a little bit more. Okay. So there's fuel and air in the combustion chamber, pistons at top dead center, it ignites the fuel. This is the power stroke. Okay, this is the exhaust stroke, this is the induction stroke, this is the compression stroke, and it goes bang again. Now then, what we want to look at is the relationship between, so let me zoom in again. What we're interested in is where does the coil fire in relation to this cutout in the reluctor wheel. Wow, what did I just do? Holy smoke. I zoomed somehow. Let me zoom back in. So what we're interested in is where the firing event is, and it's in line with this tooth of the reluctor wheel. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 teeth back from the cutout in the reluctor wheel. That's why there's a gap here. If I can find a picture of the reluctor wheel, I'll put it on the screen. So with that in mind, how are we doing for time on my screen recorder? 5 minutes in. Okay, I'm not doing too badly. So let's go to a misfire one. Now something is clearly, let's have that one, going wrong with this crank position sensor, right? It's losing its amplitude for some reason. If I just zoom in on there quickly, you'll see how bad its loss of amplitude is. If I pull a cursor down, now my brain did go to, well, Jim, it's misfiring, maybe the speed of the crank is slowing down and you know, you've got less of an amplitude of signal on the crank sensor. Well, that's true, but remember that the crankshaft is in lockstep with the rear wheel effectively through the transmission and the clutch, and the bike isn't really changing speed, maybe a tiny amount, so the crank is still spinning at reasonably the same speed. Look at that peak to peak voltage, like 1.5 volts. That to me looks like that crank signal is being shorted to ground somehow. Now that could be a fault with a sensor, could be something in the wiring from the sensor to the ECU. I suppose technically it could even be in the ECU, which would be slightly ironic. So let's get out of there. Let's get rid of the phase rulers and close that like that. Let's get rid of the zoom and let's zoom in. So there's something very funky going on here where it's misfiring. Zoom back in on that bit. Let's go there, I think. Well, to start with, look how long the fucking dweller that coil is. That is bonkers. And then also, Look where it is in relation to, that's a bit of a shit example because we can't see the next page, but look where the firing event is in relation to the cutout in the reluctor wheel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If there's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's here somewhere. It's miles away. What I'm saying is there's a massive timing shift, and it's actually, it looks even just to the eye. Hang on a minute, I've got to do something weird because I keep losing my little zoom thing off the side. I don't know why it does that. It's like it's a bug. I can move it now. Let's get rid of my zoom and just look at it in its entirety. Isn't that weird? So there's some weird timing shifts going on during this point where we could look at another one there. Look, before my screen recorder runs out. Let's look at that one. Yeah, so that one is, how far over are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's massively, the timing is moving around in a fucking crazy way because basically the ECU has no clue where it should be firing the coil. So we've got a crank position sensor fault. It's not the first time we've had GSXR crank position sensor issues, is it? Remember the getting owned by an SRAD videos? The problem with these later GSXRs is the crank position sensors knocking on the door of 400 fucking pounds. Oh God, okay. So we're definitely heading in the right direction now. I need to get it on the bench, and I can do a static test. You know, why aren't you doing a static test on the pickup, Jim? Yeah, it's a fucking meaningless test, and you'll know that if you watch the SRAD videos. Temperature affects it. It can test fucking fine statically, or even, you know what I mean, with a resistance test through the sensor, and whether it's shortened to ground or not. You need to do a dynamic test like this if you really want to know. There we go. There's me screen recorder. Fucking stopped. No, I don't want to buy now. I want to do it for free. Okay, this is the end of part. Are we on part 3 now? I think this is part 3. We're making progress. There's something going on with that crank sensor. Is it a wire rub through? And as the fucking bike jerks around, the little wires, I don't know. I need to investigate. Let's get it on the ramp and have a look. But for you, that's going to be the next video. Hopefully, it isn't going to make a fool out of me. Like and subscribe, guys, and all that bollocks. Thank you so much to the patrons. My God, I've been thinking as I've been filming this part of this series of videos. It's been like fucking pulling teeth trying to film this and do the job. And I'm just, the edit, oh my God, the edit is going to be so painful. It's going to take hours and hours and hours. And I was thinking, thank fuck for my patrons, because without them, there's no way I'd be making these videos. They make it, they don't make me money, but they mean that it's, what's the word? I'm probably breaking even because of the patrons. So all you fuckers that are too tight to become patrons need to be thanking the patrons for this content, because it's down to them. I appreciate all of you guys. I'll see you on the next one. I'm going to go and have a lie down in a dark room.